This is the Washington Times front page for Thursday, November 3rd, 2022. Thanks for joining us. I'm George Gerbo. With less than a week before Election Day, candidates in pivotal Senate races are delivering their closing messages to voters. National politics reporter Seth McLaughlin reports Republicans are focused on repudiating President Biden and the Democratic agenda. Democrats are warning that Republicans are anti-abortion and Trump-inspired threats to democracy. Polling shows that races in Arizona, Georgia, Nevada, and Pennsylvania are a toss-up. With that as a backdrop, candidates and their campaigns are doing everything they can to build themselves up and tear their opponents down. Speaking of close races, Oregon has not elected a Republican governor since 1978. Less than a week before Election Day, however, Republican Christine Drazan holds a thin lead over Democrat Tina Kotek in the race to succeed Democratic Governor Kate Brown. Valerie Richardson reports Drazan is campaigning against rising crime, homelessness, and high prices, a message that appears to resonate even with Democratic voters. The Democratic Governors Association countered that Drazan continues to gain attention for her extreme anti-choice record and refusal to condemn election deniers. Other states where Democratic governors are fighting to stay in office are Michigan, Kansas, and Wisconsin. Real Clear Politics rates all of those races as toss-ups. In football, Washington Commanders owner Dan Snyder is exploring a sale of his team. Matt Paris reports Snyder and his wife Tanya have hired Bank of America Securities to evaluate potential transactions and are exploring all options, including a sale, according to a statement issued by the team. Last month, Indianapolis Colts owner Jim Irsay became the first owner to publicly push for Snyder's removal, saying there is merit to removing Snyder from the NFL after the league's investigation into accusations of sexual misconduct by Snyder and the team. Snyder and the Commanders have been the subjects of multiple inquiries and investigations, including for sexual harassment, a toxic workplace environment, and financial improprieties. You can read all of these stories at WashingtonTimes.com/front page. You can also find the entire lineup of Washington Times podcasts at WashingtonTimes.com/podcasts. An effort to stick with daylight saving time all year got close to passage this year, and it remains a live effort in Congress. Tom Howell reports it means Americans might not be stuck in the annual tradition of losing an hour in March and gaining it back in November. The Senate approved a bill in March that would make daylight saving time permanent next year. It passed by unanimous consent. But the bill has languished in the House. The odds it reaches President Biden's desk are slim, but lawmakers driving the effort say they won't give up. A senior House Democratic aide said it's unclear whether the measure will receive a vote between mid-November, when lawmakers return to Washington, and the end of this session of Congress. And finally, the Biden administration has quietly reduced the role of nuclear weapons in U.S. defense strategy by eliminating a decades-long policy of using nuclear arms to hedge against future developments and threats. Bill Gertz reports the latest nuclear posture review quietly eliminates a formal role for the U.S. nuclear arsenal as a hedge against an uncertain future. The phrase was included in the Trump administration's 2018 nuclear posture review and in 3 earlier reviews. Every word and phrase is carefully calibrated and parsed in the document, and nuclear policy analysts say the change in language could result in the elimination of hundreds of nuclear weapons. Defense sources told Bill the policy shift is significant, and in the view of critics, will undermine efforts to reach arms control accords. Find all of today's front page stories at WashingtonTimes.com/front page or on the Washington Times app, and find us wherever you get your podcasts. Just search Washington Times in any major podcast app. You can also find us on Twitter and Instagram at Wash Times for breaking news, sports, commentary, and more. Washington Times, I'm George Gerbo.